We bring you an update on the search for the Beaufort County boater who went missing. The Beaufort County School Board generated millions of extra dollars in tax money. We'll tell you their plan, and students will be sent home from school without proper immunizations. We have all those details. All that and much more. Keep watching Beaufort. Your news starts now. Thank you for joining us for the Beaufort News. I'm Jessa Jeremiah, and here are your local headlines. A St. Helena Island man was arrested recently on outstanding warrants and drug charges. 23-year-old Eric Kadeem Blash was arrested after a search turned up almost 2 grams of marijuana, more than 2 grams of MDMA, some cocaine, a handgun, and drug paraphernalia. He was charged with multiple charges, including possession and intent to distribute. Blash also had outstanding bench and arrest warrants. Search efforts entered a 3rd day for a Beaufort County man who went missing last week. Authorities say 54-year-old Carl Mulligan was last seen around 10:30 a.m. Wednesday when his boat made a turn that threw him overboard. The Department of Natural Resources continued their search efforts both on the ground and in the air. The family is now waiting for some closure for this incident. Beaufort County School Board members found themselves with millions of extra dollars recently. The school board says they are not going to spend. The money is generated by the combined millage rate and the estimated value of the mill. The county recently discovered that they had generated this extra $3 million, but the school board says it was not their intent. They're requesting that the county use the money to lower the millage rate for county taxpayers. The final vote on this request is scheduled for September 23rd. A deadline is upon us for all 7th graders in the Lowcountry to get the mandatory Tdap vaccine. Beginning on September 20th, students who aren't vaccinated will be sent home from school. As of now, 55 out of almost 300 7th graders in the Hampton County still need the booster shot, and there are an estimated 100 Beaufort County students who have just received the Tdap vaccine this week. If your child still needs the booster shot, the DHEC staff will be on hand to provide free booster shots all week. Local leaders and businesses are hoping the new paving schedule won't affect their sales. Last week, road crews finished Bay Street and started paving Lafayette Street right ahead of schedule. But according to the South Carolina Department of Transportation, the contractor decided to hold off on finishing this project in order to wrap up work on Highway 278. Because of this, the roadwork will now coincide with the start of Beaufort's fall tourism season early in October. The delay puts the project behind about 1 month. A special performance by Beaufort County's own American Idol, Candace Glover, was held this week. The event, called Candace for a Cure, was held at the Tanger Outlet Center in Bluffton to kick off the annual Tanger Pink Style campaign. Guests were shuttled in from local areas to enjoy the show. The concert and the entire campaign goes to benefit the Beaufort Memorial Kaiserling Cancer Center. Residents may have heard more noise than usual near the air station recently due to explosive ordnance disposal training. Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort sincerely appreciated the patience and support of the community as their training ran until about 4:30 p.m. one afternoon. This noisy training allowed Marines to maintain their preparedness. A Port Royal restaurant got quite the buzz in town as they had a unique way of thanking those who risked their lives on 9/11. Fat Patties gave away free burgers to all first responders on 9/11's anniversary until closing time. This is the 2nd year the restaurant has made this offer. By close, they gave away approximately 150 burgers. And here's what's happening around the state. A South Carolina police officer has lost his job after his arrest for firing a gun into a home. The Spartanburg Police Department said 25-year-old Alvin Anderson was among officers called to the house. A resident told officers he was asleep when he heard the gunshot come through the front door. Investigators determined the shot was fired by Anderson. Anderson was fired just after joining the force in February. The Columbia City Council voted against its own attorney's advice when it approved a redevelopment project on Bull Street recently. The attorney warned members not to approve an agreement unless funding for $50 million taxpayer dollars were identified. The attorney states that the agreement exposes the City of Columbia to significant legal and financial risks that could be detrimental to the city. The City Council approved the project anyway. There are currently no funding plans available. Former South Carolina football coach Warren Geis passed away in Columbia, South Carolina recently. Geis coached the Gamecocks from 1956 to 1960 and has 28 wins, the 8th most of all time at South Carolina. In addition to playing football at Oklahoma and Central Michigan and serving in the Navy, he was also an elected member of the South Carolina Senate from '84 to 2004. Geis was 89 years old. If you'd like additional information on these headlines, you can reference the media sources you see listed on your screen. Also, you can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. Coming up, we've got WHHI's very own Kayla Logue, who tells us what's hot off the press in Beaufort news, and we'll catch up with the Chamber of Commerce for our business report. Stay right there.
Lowcountry Real Estate is located in historic downtown Beaufort, home to one of the most attractive real estate markets in America. We've been providing high-quality service to our community for the past 24 years. Whether you're interested in buying or selling residential, resort, or commercial investment property, our professional sales staff can help you with your real estate needs. Please visit lowcountryrealestate.com for details on all available properties in Beaufort, and come see how the Lowcountry becomes you.
Welcome back to the Beaufort News. Joining us first is WHHI's own Miss Kayla Logue, Kayla, with our hot off the press report. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you. All right, Kayla, as I mentioned earlier, the search continues for the body of the missing boater. So can you give us some more details on this story?
Yes, on Wednesday on Wimby Creek, a 50-year-old man was thrown from his boat while on a fishing trip, and his body still remains unfound. Authorities in the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources continued the search for the man's body on Saturday near the boat landing in the creek, but it was still unsuccessful.
Okay, so what about the accident itself? Do you have any details on what actually caused this man to be thrown from the boat?
Well, it was recently reported that the boat that Carl Mulligan was thrown from took a sharp turn when the steering wheel broke free from its column. The other man on board, James Albany, was uninjured.
Okay, well, we'll have to get another update as things unfold with that story, Kayla. On a positive note, I understand you have some information about the applications that are now available already. I feel like we just had the Water Festival, but applications are available for the Water Festival. Talk to us about that.
Well, applications for the 59th annual Beaufort Water Festival Parettes are now available in the local high schools. All current freshmen and sophomores, girls living in Beaufort County are eligible to apply. Applications are due by September 23rd.
Okay, well that is great information. Now, I'm going to move on to one last story. We just have a little bit of time, but talk to us a little bit about the Beaufort History Museum training docent.
Well, if you've ever wanted to be a museum guide, now is actually your chance. The Beaufort History Museum docent training runs up until October 10th, and classes meet every Thursday from 10 a.m. to noon or 2 to 4 p.m. In order to be a docent, you must become a museum member and pay $25 just for the training fee.
And just real fast, give us a couple details on the museum itself before we go.
The museum has many artifacts from the beginning of Beaufort's history, including the Mather school stove. And to actually get more information on that, you'll just have to go to the museum and check it out yourself.
All right, sounds good, Kayla. Thank you so much. That's your hot off the press. Joining us now for our business report is Miss Jamie Daly-Vergara, who joins us from the Beaufort Regional Chamber of Commerce. Now, Jamie, I know there's a lot going on over at the Chamber these days, so tell us about the most recent event, Military Appreciation Day. I know that took place over the weekend, so talk to us about that.
This year's event was presented by the Chamber, as well as Atlantic Marine Corps Communities and MCCS. But of course, we couldn't have done it without the many sponsors. Businesses and organizations donated food, drinks, prizes, and of course their time. We had a wonderful event, and we just want to say thank you to all of them for helping to make it happen, and thank you, a big thank you, to our military families.
All right, what a great event for those military families, so thank you for sharing that with us. Now, I understand you had another event recently downtown on Bay Street, so tell me about that.
Yes, we've been very busy at the Chamber. This past week we had a paving party on Bay Street during the first day of the construction. We served lots of cookies and lemonade to welcome many of our guests who had come here to Beaufort for the day to visit us. And we also wanted to make sure that everyone knew that downtown Beaufort and Bay Street were open for business. This was just another way to make sure that people kind of came downtown, supported our local businesses. They are definitely the heart of this community, and we wanted to make sure that we did our part to help support them. Now, during the construction, we had lots of different businesses who really kind of got on board and had fun with it. Some of them had sales. Lulu Burgess, I think, wore their hard hats during the day. Lots of businesses really had some fun with it. And we had a lot of successes downtown as well. Some of our local restaurants had really good days, and many businesses, including Bay Street Jewelers, had really great days. They said that during the first day of the construction, many of their customers understood what was going on down on Bay Street and came down and made sure to spend some time and some money with them. So that was wonderful.
All right, Jamie, what a great way to make a tough situation into a fun one as that construction wraps up. So thank you so much for your thoughts this week. For our business report, Ms. Jamie Daly-Vergara of the Beaufort Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thanks so much. After the break, we catch up with USCB Beaufort as they announce an exciting new exhibition. And we have a special on location as we get ready for Lieutenant Dan weekend, so stick around.
Allison Ramsey Architects believes that good design is a result of a collaborative effort between the architect, the builder, and most importantly, the client. The Lowcountry lifestyle incorporates all aspects of the home, and good design reflects the character of a family. No longer items of luxury, good design is standard. Let us help you craft a home built with everyday living in mind. Allison Ramsey Architects, creating sustainable, timeless design.
Welcome back to the Beaufort News. Joining us now is the Director of Communication for Beaufort County Schools, Mr. Jim Foster. Welcome, Jim.
Good morning.
Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about the TDAP immunizations. We talked a bit about this up front, but there's been a lot in the news lately about these immunizations, so give us an update.
We have a new law in South Carolina, goes into effect this year. The South Carolina General Assembly has required every 7th grader in South Carolina to have a Tdap immunization, which protects against tetanus, diphtheria, and whooping cough. Whooping cough is the most serious because it's on the rise in South Carolina. So students
now,
have to have that vaccine.
I understand there was a free clinic over the weekend that offered free immunizations to these 7th graders. Talk to us about that.
The Department of Health and Environmental Control offered that clinic. We had 64 people immunized. Of that total, 39 were 7th graders who needed it in order to come to school.
Okay. And now I understand not all of the 7th graders have received their shots so far. So what's going to happen on Friday morning to kids who show up for school that haven't had their shots?
We have been talking to parents about this for almost a year now, more intensively in the last couple of weeks. Any student who shows up to school on Friday without proof that they have had their Tdap immunization will not be allowed to attend school. This is a state requirement.
Okay. And why are these immunizations so important for students? You mentioned a couple of things that they help against, so talk to us about the importance there.
Right. The whooping cough is the most serious of the ones that this vaccine protects against. And the issue is, although the kids get that vaccine when they're younger, its effectiveness wears off over time. So the state requirement is that they have a booster shot when they're in the 7th grade.
Okay. And you mentioned the whooping cough a couple of times now. Is this a significant problem in South Carolina, or is this just something that's local to our area?
No, it's a statewide issue, and over the last 2 or 3 years, the incidence of whooping cough in South Carolina, which is very contagious, has increased. And so the state health department is trying to get a handle on it.
All right, absolutely. Well, hopefully parents take this very seriously, as there's just a few days left until it's the drop dead date for that. So Jim Foster, much appreciated. Thank you for the information. That is our Director of Communication for Beaufort County Schools. And thanks so much for your time and your input.
You're welcome.
Principal Chris Paul from John Paul II joining us now. Welcome, Chris. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Now, Chris, the area's newest Catholic school has opened recently. I want to talk to you about that. So talk to us a little bit about the first opening days and what that looked like.
It was an incredible experience, Jessa, and an incredible testament to the faith and commitment and generosity of our diocese and of the local community. This is the first Catholic high school that has opened in the state in more than 50 years. And we actually started school on August 21st. We brought in 57 students in grades 7, 8, and 9. So that's almost 20 per grade level. They were incredibly excited. They joined us from 11 different elementary schools and all came together to be the first students in the school. And I think they're understanding very quickly the awesome responsibility that they have as the first in everything that they do in history, including our freshmen have figured out now that they are always going to be the oldest students in the school as we continue to add a grade level each year until we go through 12th grade. I think one of the other things that was truly a first, I didn't do any research on it, but we opened school in the Oakady Baptist Church, and again, that is an incredibly generous community who took us under their wing with the words of, we all serve the same Lord, we're going to be neighbors for a long time to come. And so we are on the second floor of their education building and have full use of their campus. Incredibly generous on their part.
Absolutely. And I understand during the opening that all students receive computers to use at home in school. What a significant contribution that must be. Talk to me real quick about how technology plays a role in the education of this new school for students.
You're correct. All our students received a Lenovo Twist ThinkPad to use at home in school. About 80% of our textbooks are ebooks. The students are using the tablets to take notes. They're keeping their calendar of assignments on there. They're using our website for email alerts on homework. We have online gradebook. And then it's also gotten to the point where we as the adults know that sometimes our best teachers of technology are the students. And so even this week during our growth period, the 7th and 8th graders have planned an hour-long session to teach the rest of us how to use that technology to learn.
All right, so thank you so much for the information about the new opening, and we'll have to check back as the school year unfolds and see how things are going. So a special thank you to Principal Chris Paul of John Paul II for that information. Coming up, we'll check in with Councilman Joe Lee to get the scoop on Port Royal's latest news, and Lowcountry Weekly fills us in on entertainment with the Out and About report. Stay right where you are. The Beaufort News will be right back.
Welcome to the town of Port Royal, located along the Intercoastal Waterway and Battery Creek in the heart of South Carolina's Lowcountry. One of America's leaders in small-town new urbanism, where visitors enjoy shopping and dining, and residents appreciate the tranquility of a quiet walking village. Come experience the hospitality and growth of a beautiful coastal community. Come experience the opportunities of Port Royal, South Carolina.
Welcome back to the Beaufort News. Joining us now is Councilman Joe Lee, who joins us for our Port Royal report. Now, Joe, you've got some changes in the local festival schedule, so what can you talk to us about at this time?
Yes, Jessa, I mentioned on Beaufort News a few weeks ago that we had a fall festival coming up in October the 19th. But I wanted to announce today that that has been delayed. We're not going to have our fall festival on that date. The exact date and of the festival will be announced here later. So any of you that had planned to come on the 19th, we'll give you an update on the date and the location and details like that.
All right, we'll have to get that update from you. And now the next street music event, features some folks familiar to our Hilton Head viewers. Is that right? Can you give us details there?
That is exactly right, Jessa. We have Levon and Louise from the Jazz Corner in Hilton Head. They came and opened a show for us in the spring, and about the time they started performing, the rain came. So everyone said, bring them back, bring them back. So we're real pleased that this group will be September the 14th, Saturday evening, and we're ready for a great show to continue our concert series.
All right, and where exactly are these events and what should people bring, if anything?
Well, they're always held on Paris Avenue in Port Royal, between 10th Street and 9th Street. We block the street off. People are encouraged to bring their coolers, their friends, their children, and their neighbors. And by the way, their bag chairs as well, because there's plenty of seating. It's under the live oak trees, and it's a great, great evening.
All right, Joe. Well, lots of great updates for us from Port Royal as always. Councilman Joe Lee with our Port Royal report. Now we are joined by Lowcountry Weekly, who gives us the latest in entertainment news in our Out and About report.
Thanks a lot. This Saturday, the USCB Center for the Arts hosts the celebration of the debut of Teresa Bruce's new book, The Other Mother. We're here on the porch where a lot of that book was either conceived or written, right?
That is right. This is the porch from Vern Miller's house, and a lot of the memories that I had that I wrote about in the book were made right here on this porch. Listening to her tell stories of choices she made in her life. You know, she was the founder of the Vern Miller Dance Theater, and that's how most people remember her. But for me, she was my other mother, and I learned sort of at her side on this porch as she explained the way she thought, the way she did, and the influences in her life.
You titled the book A Rememoir. Invented a new word.
I did. I invented two new words. The other new word was womenisms, which were these anecdotes and analogies she used that all of her collective daughters remember, and they were great. They're things like, if you're going to be a snob, be unrepentant. Mediocrity is distasteful. Or the family you're born with is not the one you're stuck with. And some of them were serious too. Some themes were like, when what is painful can't be fixed, close the door behind you and walk into another room. The brain has more chambers than the heart. The tough thing was just like figuring out how to string all those pearls together. But I had a great editor, Susan Cameron-Campbell at Driving Board Press, and she kind of got me over that hump of worrying about how to, not having to explain everything, but just finding those moments that defined her life and our relationship.
So what's going to happen at the event?
Well, most books launch with a book signing, but since Vern was a dancer, we're having a kickoff celebration. I'm going to do a version of my TED Talk that I did about Vern, and we're going to have performances from advanced dance students in Beaufort County Public Schools, which is really fitting because Vern introduced modern dance as an element of public education in Beaufort County, and she was really proud of it. And the next day, that happens on Saturday at 6, the next day, Sunday the 22nd from 1 to 3, my publisher, Susan Cameron-Campbell, is going to give a workshop on writing memoir, and she's going to explain how you string pearls together one moment at a time.
Excellent. And also, for the Saturday event, catering by Debbie Covington.
Exactly.
And of course, there will be books for sale and to be signed as well.
And
right?
a portion of the proceeds benefits University of South Carolina Beaufort's Center for the Arts, and the workshop fee also benefits the Center for the Arts.
It starts promptly at 6 o'clock on Saturday evening. You get more information online at teresabrucebooks.com, lcweekly.com, and you can pick up a paper. It's on the streets now. Back to you.
Thanks for joining us for the Beaufort News. I'm Jessa Jeremiah. Please join us next time.